What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. So I'm recording this at almost 11 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time, and we know a couple of things after Aaron Glenn arrived at the facilities, spent the majority of his day there, and he has left the building and returned back to Detroit without a contract just yet. But that's not necessarily cause for concern. I've seen plenty of the insiders and the analysts, etc., that have not only pointed out that we've seen this same situation with Robert Saleh play out, where he arrived, spent the majority of his day, and left to later sign a contract, but also that since we now know this wasn't necessarily a interview in terms of finding out more about Aaron Glenn in the common sense of things, right? Follow-up questions, etc., etc. This was more clarifying, getting Aaron Glenn comfortable with the position of being the next New York Jets head coach. So you're talking about things like staffing situations, looking at the facilities, touring, putting together his actual coaching staff, getting familiar with the layout, maybe the formulation of the initial thought process of what his game plan or what his flight path is going to look like, right? So I'm extremely comfortable with that, but Ian Rapoport did provide us some other updates, right? So as it relates to him securing a contract with the New York Jets, it's been mentioned that the New York Jets, Woody Johnson specifically, offered him a substantial contract. Now, I'm sure there's still a lot of minutia stuff that needs to be determined, length of years, annual average, what are the incentives going to look like, etc., etc., etc. I think we know a lot less about what coaching contracts are structured and what's detailed, what the add-ons and all that kind of stuff looks like than we do when it comes to our players. And even then, there's a lot of, anonymity with that. But with that said, I am kind of intrigued. From the contractual standpoint, the only number I really care about is the number of years that he actually signs, which that's not guaranteeing him anything, right? He could get 6 years and be tossed out within 2 months. But generally, it'll let you know the frame of mind in which both sides were really working with and what they could come to an agreement on. So I would imagine Robert Saleh got 5 years, I believe. Aaron Glenn probably will get that matched, right? I think in this situation with everybody coming together, you're talking about Newmark and Aaron Glenn being on the exact same timeline, probably 2 5-year lengthwise contracts. But just I wanted to look at the numbers as well because I was just curious. Some of the most recent-ish head coaches, and from what Sportico in this case was able to dig up from sources, etc., you're looking at Jim Harbaugh, Dan Campbell, Mike Macdonald, right? Campbell and Mike Macdonald kind of standing out as the more, first-timer head coach kind of guys and lots of hype, etc., etc. So you would imagine this aligns somewhere with them. But Jim Harbaugh got $16 million, completely understood based on his resume. Dan Campbell, Mike Macdonald, though, Campbell got $11 million, Macdonald got $9 million. So I don't know if I see it superseding Dan Campbell, but with the tax of being coaching for the New York Jets and the history and recent bad news and all that kind of stuff, as well as the amount of work it may take to get us to an acceptable level, even though I think we have a competitive enough roster between some superstar-like guys and then some guys that I still think you would consider like A, B+ tier. He potentially could, right? But I think you fall somewhere in that vein, right? I wouldn't say quite as much as $13 million, but I think $9 million for him is potentially the floor here in this case. And so one of the other question marks, and I'm actually getting ready to drop another video for that as well, is really what kind of coaching staff can Aaron Glenn establish and put together here. It was reported all day that not only was Woody Johnson advising other general managers, other head coach candidates that they're narrowing their decision down, not to say that they did that to all, but also that Aaron Glenn has been kind of ferviously, I think that's the word. He's been in a fervor, right? Either way, he's been giving it effectively his utmost attention as much as possible with everything going on with the visit.
trying to organize what his staff is going to look like and what that's going to consist of. So pay attention to the video coming up. I'm going to drop a ton of names, not necessarily as much background, but it's going to be in a pretty extensive list here. So let me know what you guys ultimately think. And by the way, if we lock in the news by the time you guys are seeing this video that Aaron Glenn has become our next head coach, clap it up and let me know what your guys' thoughts were in the comments. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you again. Peace.